I would like to extend a warm welcome to all members of the Cabinet, other members of the Council and officers in attendance at today's Cabinet meeting of the 4th of December 2024. Welcome to members of the public and press who may be watching the meeting live on YouTube. I am Councillor Jill Cleary, Leader of the Council and Chairman of the Cabinet. I would now like to hand over to Democratic Services to read the housekeeping note.
Please note this meeting is being broadcast live on the Council's website and on YouTube. It will remain available for a minimum of 12 months. Please can those in attendance use your microphone when speaking and turn it off when you've finished. Please switch any mobile devices to a silent setting. If the fire alarm rings, please can everyone leave the room immediately and use the nearest fire exit. Do not use the lift. Please go to the fire assembly point located at the bottom of the car park by the garages.
Thank you. Please would members introduce themselves during the meeting, if not already introduced by name. Apologies. None from any Cabinet members. Thank you. I want to address recent coverage in the media about potential changes to the organisation of local government in England. This is at present speculation in advance of the government's proposed devolution white paper, anticipated later this month. The media coverage uses dramatic headlines and talks as if the decisions have already been made. In reality, any changes to councils across England are a long way off and subject to detailed local discussions within the district and wider Hampshire and Isle of Wight area. We will continue our conversations with other Hampshire councils, with a focus remaining on delivering our agreed vision to support opportunities for the communities we serve, protect our unique and special place, and secure a prosperous New Forest. Thank you. Right, leaders' announcements. Communities across the New Forest recently held events for Remembrance Sunday and Armistice. Our street scene team cleaned war memorials in preparation for the events, and I represented the council at the Lyndhurst Remembrance Service, followed by the parade to the War Memorial at Bolton's Bench to lay a wreath. The chairman and vice chairman of the council also both attended remembrance services in their local areas and laid wreaths on behalf of the district. Our member for the Armed Forces Champion, Councillor Alvin Reid, attended a special Armistice Day commemoration held at the regimental headquarters of 17th Port and Maritime Regiment, RLC, where he was given the honour of assisting with the presentation of coronation medals to soldiers. Thank you to all who ran these events so well and respectfully. On Monday, the 11th of November, I joined the chairman for a commemoration at 11 a.m. here at Appletree Court, where we both laid a wreath. I was so pleased to see some of our staff, who are also veterans of our armed forces, come together for this event. Officers, supported by the Armed Forces Member Champion, continue to liaise with the military based at Marchwood, along with charities who support the Armed Forces community across the district, to refresh the Armed Forces Covenant previously signed by this council in 2014. A dedicated area on our website is also being developed to provide information about the support and benefits available to the Armed Forces community through our council and other organisations. We are aiming to deliver both the revised covenant and the web pages by the spring. Thank you. Item 1, minutes. Do Cabinet members agree the minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of November 2024 as a correct record?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. Do Cabinet members have any declarations of pecuniary or other interests in respect of the business for this meeting? None? Thank you. Item 3, public participation. None. Item 4, medium-term financial plan update. Can I go to Councillor Jeremy Heron, please?
Thank you very much, Chairman. The report before you sets out the Council's medium-term financial plan up to 28-29. I think it's very important that we start probably at the end of the story and look at the fact that by that point, and our current projections, we have a community growth deficit of misreading then, of 1.466 million. That we have to address. We need to address that over the life of the plan so that we don't get to the end and end up with a problem that is insurmountable. If you go to section 4 of the report, you will see that most of the economic commentary is negative and impacts adversely against this council, unfortunately, which is something that we have for a long time suffered. And so as we look to address that in this plan, we need always to minimise expenditure, to look to address efficiencies wherever possible, whilst maximising income. Now, I know that from my own mailbox that sometimes is not a popular way forward for some of our residents, but it is very important that we continue to produce a balanced budget and a well-maintained council and delivering on the services that are so important to our residents. I am pleased to say that we continue to do so despite some of the challenges, and as we move down the report you will see that one of those significant challenges that we're beginning to face and deal with is the waste strategy and the changes that are required both in legislation and as an important part that our residents see that we look to improve our recycling and reduce our overall residual waste. And actually that receives a lot of support from people throughout the district, but it does not come without a significant price tag. That will be addressed also as we move down through the report, through our transformation and our revised medium-term financial plan update is set out in section 27, table 2, which again identifies the cumulative deficit. Oh, I did get it wrong. I knew I read it wrong first time, of 2.693 million. I knew it was wrong. I just couldn't find the right figure in front of me. Yeah. So with that, I think I will continue through the report, Chairman, and point out some of the areas where I continue to think that we need to support support people within this community, and that again is shown where we report on our support for Citizens Advice New Forest in a 3-year programme, a 3-year settlement for them, so that they can continue to support those most in need within our community. A 3-year settlement. I must comment there that how delighted it would be if we could get that out of the government. We would be truly pleased with such an offer. I'll jump forward now to the capital, and you will see that there is a significant capital programme within the report, which is going to hit very hard on our capital reserve, but again, something that we can see coming forward and being deliverable, but it will have a real effect on those reserves that we have going forward. And I would just like to, it's almost a poor relation whenever we do a financial report because it has its own area, and that is the housing revenue account, which is set within there. And again, a very significant proposal to deliver on our housing delivery and the money that we are putting forward into the delivery of housing within the district. You know, not all councils now deliver on housing. A lot sold that out and don't do it. We retained it in-house, and I think that not only has that served us well up till now, but will continue to do so in the future. But you will see that there is a 9.96 million housing acquisition and development proposal going forward over that period, and that does require a significant amount, obviously, of resources and input, and will take quite a lot to deliver, not only in a financial state, but I think also in resources within the housing infrastructure, because delivering that number of houses requires quite some level of work to do so. With that, I think I'm happy to leave the report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I go to Paul Whittles, Assistant Director Finance? Do you have any further comments, Paul?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, further to the comments made by the portfolio holder, I can confirm this report provides the latest position regarding the Council's medium-term financial plan. I think it's worth noting that in the body of the report, and there's an economic commentary section from paragraph 4, which includes an update from the Chancellor's autumn statement and elements relevant to the Council. These include positive announcements regarding the increase to core spending power, increases in local government grants, and the extension of the HRA borrowing rate discount until March 26. Paragraphs 15 through to 25 lay out the significant changes to the previous update, and as explained, this now means there's a gap of 466,000 in 25-26, but over the whole full year period it is 2.7. The 1.466 referenced earlier would be the additional budget gap should we not take advantage of the flexibilities regarding council tax. So it would have been worse at 4 million without that decision, without that process. Some of those significant changes include a positive movement of 200,000 due to the greater confidence in settlement, the impact on the from the fees and charges decision on Key Haven and car parking, and the crystallisation of vacant posts. Conversely, some of the negative adjustments include the re-inclusion of the support for homelessness, and therefore the maintenance of the £2/3 of a £1 million budget to support those services, and also the need to reflect and rebase the building control and planning fee income expectations. As mentioned, there's details around the waste strategy and how that's needed to be reprofiled, and also the importance of the transformation programme and the timing of when the investment and the savings coming from that will materialise. The citizens' advice and support for 3 years will be maintained at 195, subject to the approvals, and this was endorsed at the Resources and Transformation Overview and Scrutiny Panel. And as the portfolio holder said, it's important here to get clear direction of travel for the asset maintenance and capital programme as we move forward to the February position being set. So whilst there's still work to be done by colleagues and there's still some uncertainties, including the financial government settlement and also the outcome of that review of asset maintenance and capital programme, this is the current position as it stands. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Cabinet, do you have any other comments on the paper?
No, thank you.
No. Anybody got? I will open up the floor. Anybody else? Lovely. Can I then take you to the recommendations on page 3 to 4? Cabinet, do you agree?
Agreed.
Lovely. Item 5, Council Tax Reduction Scheme 2025-26, Policy Review and Council Tax Premiums. Can I go to you again, please, Councillor Jeremy Heron?
Thank you very much. We have, for a number of years now, operated our own scheme as required by government. First of all, I'd like to thank not only the Task and Finish group that worked very hard on this, because there was a lot of in-depth thought, but also the scrutiny panel, who then also did quite a lot of work looking into this and reviewing it. Chairman, I have very little to add to it at that point, other than the fact that the changes as set out in the recommendation look to continue to maintain a contribution from those who fall within the bounds of the scheme, that we continue to support and protect the most vulnerable in our society with this scheme. And with that, I think I'll leave it. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I go to Officer Ryan Stevens, Service Manager, Revenues, Benefits and Customer Services? Ryan, do you wish to add anything?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just give an overview of the report. So it does have three components, as mentioned: a review of our council tax reduction scheme, a review of our council tax reduction scheme sanctions and prosecutions policy, and then some details on the exceptions to the second home and empty homes premiums, which are being introduced from the 1st of April next year. So our council tax reduction scheme currently supports around 8,000 claimants with help with paying their council tax, and the level of support being roughly £10 million a year. Councils have responsibility to determine their own local scheme to support those of working age, with support for pension age claimants set by the government. So each year we review the scheme and a variety of factors are considered, as well as feedback from the consultation. Consultation is over a 6-week period, and this year we received 225 responses. Feedback was also received from Hampshire County Council, who expressed concerns about any changes which are more generous due to their severe cost pressures of adult and children's social care and their current financial situation. The report clarifies what the panel recommends, which is the removal of the Band D cap, an increase in the de minimis rule from £1 to £2, and to align childcare costs with universal credit for all claims. The council tax reduction scheme sanctions and prosecution policy has also been reviewed as part of our 3-year review of the policy. There have been no changes to legislation, with only minor amendments being made to the policy. The report also provides details of the prescribed exceptions that the government have recently announced to the second home premium and the empty homes premium, and we will shortly be writing to those affected to notify them of the premium being applied from April and the exceptions for them to contact us should they apply. Happy to take any questions. Thank you, Chair.
I'll open this up to Cabinet. Do you have any comments? No? Anybody on the floor? I have Councillor Dowd, please.
Thank you. The scheme's always a compromise between tailored support and practicality. The test will be to see how those who are most negatively affected will fare and what support they're able to access if required. But by and large, I think it's a balanced recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dowd. Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you, Chair. I know a financial officer is aware of this, but I don't know whether the Cabinet, especially and other councils, are aware of the Royal British Legion's campaign Credit Their Service when it comes to benefits. A fifth of councils across the country have signed up to support this. It's where our veterans have been injured or something like that and have received compensation, and that compensation is not taken into regard as far as benefits. And actually, some of them have got that benefit and then they've lost their pension credit. So I would ask that the Cabinet and others who are hearing my voice here look into this further and see whether we can, as a council, like many others have across the country, have actually put this into their benefits system. I think it's important we support our veterans. We have signed up, as a council that basically are in favour of helping veterans, and this is one way that we can. So this probably next year with what's going through now, but I would say this needs looking into further so that we can support our veterans who have been injured and have had compensation. It's not taken against them in benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. Ryan, would you be able to answer that for me, please?
Yes, Chair. So we've already had detailed conversations with British Royal Legion about this campaign. Last year I brought a report to Cabinet which was approved to continue the local disregard in full of any compensation or payments from the armed forces in our council tax support scheme and also within our housing benefits scheme. So we're already doing what they're requesting. That was approved last year. So we are providing that support.
Thank you, Ryan. I thought it was, but I didn't want to jump in. So sorry, Councillor Armstrong, you're a bit out of date on that one. So can I take the Cabinet to the recommendations on pages 23 to 24? Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 6, Council Tax 2025 to 26, setting the tax base. Once again, we're going to go to Councillor Jeremy Heron.
Thank you, Chairman. Monopolising the situation this morning. But on this one, this is a legal requirement. It is a legal requirement for this council to set its council tax base, from which we then calculate the precepts required. A moment, it's a bit like choosing the Pope. I think every parish council waits for us to produce this report to see how their finances is going to fare. Apart from that, I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea how this mystical calculation is made. It is a very important calculation. It requires a number of people in the area, the number of people who are disallowed, any changes, growth in the population, and I am truly pleased to say that I pass this responsibility entirely across to our officers, because there is no chance I could do it.
Thank you. Can I now go to Ryan Stevens, Service Manager, Revenues, Benefits and Customer Services? Ryan.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this report sets the council tax base for 25-26. Detailed calculations are involved looking at the number of properties in each council tax band for each town and parish. From this, we then work out the number of council tax discounts, exceptions, disabled band reductions, the amount of council tax support and awarded. This is then all converted to Band D equivalents. We've also made a forecast of the impact of the second homes premium being introduced from next April, and we also factor in an estimated in-year collection rate. The overall tax base increase is 98.3. However, due to the second homes premium, the total tax base for 25-26 is 73,355, which is an overall increase of 983.50. Happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Cabinet, do you have any further comments? No. Thank you. I will go to the floor. Wonderful, thank you. Can I then take you to the recommendations on page 43, Cabinet? Do you agree?
Agree.
Wonderful. Item 7, Leisure Update and Proposed Fees and Charges 2025. You okay? Whoever that was? Right, okay. I'm going to go to Councillor Dan Paul, who is the portfolio holder for Community Safety and Wellbeing first.
Thank you, Chairman. I think this is a fairly self-explanatory report, although obviously unfortunate, not entirely unexpected given the national picture at the moment. And I really hope that the Cabinet will take on board the situation that Freedom Leisure find themselves in and support them.
Thank you, Councillor Paul. I will now go to Councillor Jeremy Heron, portfolio holder for Finance and Corporate.
Thank you, Chairman. It's never popular when you put up fees and charges. However, working with our partners at Freedom Leisure, I think that they continue to provide outstanding value for money and deliver the service in a way that if this had remained in-house, we never could have delivered at a price we could never have delivered it for. I'm therefore fully supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Heron. Can I go to Paul Whittles, Assistant Director Finance, for any further comments? Paul.
Thank you, Chair. So just to add, for members' awareness, Freedom Leisure have the ability to raise prices without seeking consent as per the partnership agreement, but only if those increases are not greater than CPI, nor do they relate to certain protected services, such as the active lifestyle products. In recent years, those flexibilities have been sufficient for Freedom Leisure to operate, but unfortunately, due to the long-term impact of increased utility costs, plus the staff cost increase due to the national insurance changes recently, this is no longer possible, hence the request put forward today. Thank you.
Thank you. Cabinet, do you have any further comments? No? Thank you. I will open it to the floor. Wonderful. None. Cabinet, can I take you to the recommendations on page 53? Do you agree?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 8, half-yearly update, complaints performance and service improvement report. I'd like to go to Councillor Steve Davis, portfolio holder for housing and homelessness first.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Just for a change of voice, me rather than Jeremy this time. At the Resources and Transformation Panel, I did mention this, of course, this is the first half of this year's annual report. It provides a very good heads up to the complaints handling function within the district, and I think it's important to recognise the fact that we are being very open and straight and honest with this. It covers all aspects from the housing side, and as I've said before, it provides us an opportunity to learn as well, which I think is most important. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. We now will also go to Councillor Jeremy Heron, portfolio holder for finance and corporate.
Thank you very much, Chairman. As you're aware, this relates to the changes in the complaints process that came into force from the 1st of April 24, outlines our complaints procedure and has a summary of that, of the process as we go through. Nothing else to add, I don't think.
Thank you, Councillor Heron. I'd now like to go to Amanda Wilson, Information, Governance and Complaints Manager. Lovely to see you, Amanda. I don't get to see you very often.
Thank you, Chairman. As the portfolio holders have set out for members, the report really covers changes that have been implemented to the Council's complaints handling as a result of the recent complaint handling code updates from both the Housing Ombudsman and the Local Government and Social Care Ombudsman. The report particularly sets out the changes to member scrutiny of complaints and the new involvement of Cabinet in relation to that process, and also the introduction of members responsible for complaints who are the portfolio holders that we've heard from today. The report also includes the half-yearly update on complaints, which is contained from page 83 onwards in the report. Some of the key aspects which the half-yearly update report covers surround the Council's complaints handling across all of our services, and then breaks down the complaint handling, particularly relating to complaints from tenants, which fall under the jurisdiction of the Housing Ombudsman. In relation to some of the key headlines, we've had 125 corporate complaints received during the half-yearly period, and that is showing an increase in the number of complaints that are being received. Similarly, in relation to tenant complaints, there has been an increase in the number of complaints received, but the report also sets out some of the reasons why that might be, including in relation to the complaint handling codes, our increased transparency around the complaint handling process, and the report covers some of the key learning that has been identified from complaints, which is a really important aspect of the Council's complaints handling, and that we're trying to use complaints as an opportunity to drive service improvements. And finally, the complaint report covers compliments that have been received from members of the public about council officers to show some of the positive feedback that officers are receiving. That's it from me, Chairman, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Can I just say thank you, because the report is really thorough, really well put together, and I know there would have been an awful lot of hours spent in the background working away, so thank you. Cabinet, do you have any other comments?
No, thank you. Please, next.
Right, I will now open it to the floor. I've got Councillor Dowd, and then I have Councillor Armstrong, I think. No? Okay. Right, sorry. Philip.
Thank you. Yes, we note a year-on increase in complaints. These can be due to a number of factors. The recent focus on engagement is going to encourage more people to complain. The last thing we want to see is people saying there's no point complaining if nothing gets done. So in itself, I don't see that as a significant issue. My question, though, is on some of the more challenging complaints, which often are those where there's an overlap between authorities, for example, between the district and the county, or the district and towns and parishes. where they often take longer to sort out, and people often find themselves going around in circles trying to find out who to complain to. Are these going to be looked at as a separate issue? That's my question.
Amanda, could you possibly answer that one for me?
Yes, certainly. So any complaint that the council receives that falls under the council's jurisdiction, we would deal with that through the complaints procedure. Where a complaint might be covered by another authority, that is looked at the point the complaint is received, and a complainant is directed at the first point of contact to who the relevant authority would be to resolve their complaint. So if it has issues that relate to the district, we would look at that through the complaints procedure, or we would direct them at the first point we could to the relevant authority.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Chairman. I just bring some balance to it. Whenever we look at complaints, it's often seen as a negative thing that we receive complaints, but of course any organisation is going to receive complaints from time to time, and our level of complaints is relatively low. But I think you've got to, and it always is, as the portfolio holder said, it's an opportunity to be transparent and open, but it's also an opportunity to learn and improve our service. And I think we do that. But also on the other side of things, I think we need to look at our overall performance, which we need to sort of point out to our communities that overall there is a great deal of satisfaction with our services overall, and we achieve very well in that larger picture. This is just one important but small part of a really important larger picture.
Thank you. I'd also like to note that the report does also contain some compliments, which we haven't mentioned, so I'm really pleased to see that. So, Cabinet, do you have any further comments?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. So, can I take you to the recommendations on page 75? Cabinet, do you agree?
Agreed.
Thank you. That's almost the end of the meeting, so I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you for all attending today. Wish you all a Merry Christmas and a safe Christmas. And although I will see some of you through the building, I may not see some of you till next year. Thank you very much. Bye.